Have you ever cared for everyone else so completely that you had no time left for yourself? Can I tell you a story? I walk into the house after seeing my mother in the hospital. The house is quiet, the kids are asleep. I go to my room and plop myself on the floor, my knees to my chest held tightly. I am crying so hard that I can't catch my breath. My eyes are burning. And I'm saying, how did this happen? How did I get here? And the irony of all this was, I'm a nurse. This should not happen to me. I took care of people. I took care of patients, families. I knew what this all looked like. But yet, I thought I was different. I didn't think I'd ever have to recognize it in myself. So I just kept pushing through. I can do this. I'm strong. If I take care of myself, how am I going to take care of other people, because I won't have enough time. So that's when I decided that if I had to take care of, if I made it through this, that I would be there for other caregivers, because no caregiver should be by themselves and do this by themselves. Now, this just didn't happen all of a sudden. There were words that I would say all the time. I can do this. I've got this. And I would hear words from other people too. You know, I can go take a nap later. I can go to sleep at 11 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'm still trying to get done everything I hadn't gotten done before. And those are the words that you start to believe, that you're invincible. And that becomes your message. That's the way you live your life. Now, can I tell you about one of my clients, Mora? Now, Mora took care of her husband for years, and she did everything. His appointments were her appointments. His pain was her pain. She did everything for him. And what started to happen was, like the sun sets, slowly, it became dark for her. And that happened when her husband passed away. She came to me and she said, I don't know who I am anymore. And that was so painful to see what someone else had gone through. She lost her identity. She didn't know who she was anymore. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's what awareness is. We need to find this before it happens, not fix it after the damage. So what happened after that was, she was able to take care. But awareness is very important. And I have another client. Her name is Angela. Now, Angela had some insight into her situation. She had an executive position. She had a husband with cancer. She had kids. She had a lot of responsibility. But what she became aware of was the fact that she needed help navigating the healthcare system, that it was so complicated for her. So we worked through, we helped her take care of those challenges. But what she figured out along the way, that there was a lot more involved in this situation, that just taking care of his challenges wasn't taking care of her. And what happened with her was that as soon as I met her, and I did recognize this even in myself, that her candle was dimming. You know how when a candle is right at the end and you see the wick and it's just flickering, that's where Angela was. That's when I met her. That her wick was just flickering a little bit and it was becoming dim because there was no wick left to burn. So we had to fill her, and I'll call it as a reservoir, because I'm thinking of those old-fashioned candles that we used to have in the dark ages, that you'd have to put the oil in the bottom to get those candles to burn. So she needed a lot of oil at the bottom for her candle to burn brightly. But she was able to do it. And what we did is, once we rebuilt that reservoir for her, her world started to change. Her world looked different. She wasn't the same person. But that awareness isn't just enough. You need so much more than just awareness. And that's where my client Rachel reinforced that for me. Rachel was taking care of her mother-in-law. Now, you would say to yourself, well, it's not her mother, but you know what? Doesn't matter. You care for who you care for. And what Rachel and I talked about, Rachel was, I get so anxious when I go see my mother-in-law, I'm sorry. I get so anxious when I go see my mother-in-law. I can't do this anymore. And I said to her, you don't have to go see her. It's okay to give yourself some time to yourself. It doesn't mean you love her any less or you're giving any less of yourself. You're actually giving her more of yourself when you go see her, refreshed, feeling better. We met several months later. And when we met, she said, thank you. I couldn't remember why. And she said, you gave me permission. And I thought to myself, permission, something we all take for granted, being able to do what we can. But for a caregiver, it looks different. Caregivers look at the world a little bit differently. They see themselves as needing to sacrifice for others and to give all of themselves. And they think that that's what makes the world better, when in actuality, that's not what their loved ones want. So she said, thank you. When I go see her, it's such a different experience. I enjoy being there with her. And that brings so much joy, because not only was she taking care of herself, she was going to her mother-in-law being happier, being more of a daughter-in-law. And that's what we want. We want them to be able to be a daughter. That was something I missed when I was going through it. I was not the daughter that I wanted to be for my mother, because I was so focused on just caregiving that I was burnt, and I didn't give her the best of me. And even to this day, and she's been quite a bit, it still haunts me. And that's not something I want for anyone. The memories should all be beautiful memories, even through difficult situations. We should be the best of what we can, make the best of the situation what we can. Now, let me go back to Angela. Now, Angela, she went through, she figured it out. Her situation didn't change, but she was happier. She was more present. She was more whole. And what happened was that we were able to work together. We were able to take care of her through coaching, help her navigate the healthcare system, which we all know is so challenging and so difficult. Even I sometimes wonder how anybody can make it through this. And also to make sure she was taking care of herself, her wellness, so that she could be a whole person, that her loved ones weren't only just getting pieces of her, they were getting all of her. And that's where my company came in. Because when I was sitting on that floor, I said, if I made it through, and I'm so happy I did, that I would be there for others. And Healthbridge Advocacy, I help them bridge those challenges so that their life, even though difficult, because the challenges don't change, but the way you approach the challenges do and how you feel is what changes. So if you think your light is dimming, I invite you, there'll be a link in the chat, and I invite you to take a 8-minute questionnaire, only take 2 minutes, and I will respond back. Now, some people may be shining so brightly, and other people may not. And coaching's not for everybody, but I'll review your answers, and then we will go through, and if appropriate, we'll have a discussion. But if there's anyone that you know that is a caregiver, whoever they might be, a coworker, friend's friend, or friend's mother, please share the link, because it's so important for caregivers to be there for each other, because every caregiver deserves to be seen and every caregiver deserves support.